JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. The Employee Retention Credit has been updated massively by the new Stimulus Act that has been signed into law just a little over 24 hours ago. Today is the 28th of December, almost done with the day, but this video is to tell you to pause before you file anything on the retroactive Employee Retention Credit. We know that the stimulus has indicated that whether you got PPP or not, you now can take the Employee Retention Credit. We know that the stimulus has indicated that you are able to retroactively go back and get this tax credit. The stimulus has indicated that if you're going to take advantage of the retroactive tax credit, that you can claim it all in fourth quarter, either on Form 7200, as long as it's filed within 30 days. You would not file a second, third, and fourth quarter Form 7200. You would file one Form 7200. That is new and different from a video that I posted. Now, in that video, I indicated wait until the law has been put in place before you do anything, with the fourth quarter being the quarter to take advantage of the Employee Retention Credit. You can also indicate it on your Form 941. Now, the reason I want you to wait is that we know that the tax credit increases to 70% of the qualified wages, up to $10,000 per employee per quarter. The qualified wages are wages that are paid while the business is shut down or partially shut down due to government shutdown. We know that the number of employees that can be allowed by the employer has increased up to 500. We also know that the requirement for the reduction in gross receipts as it relates to the Employee Retention Credit has changed from 50% down to 20%, meaning only gross receipts have to be down by 20%. So it's an either or. You can get the Employee Retention Credit because there was a government shutdown, partial shutdown, or if your quarter is down by more than 20%, or at least 20%, compared to a similar quarter in the prior year, that is a secondary way that you can qualify. This has been extended through the second quarter of 2021, so through June 30, 2021. What's interesting is that the applicable date for two aspects of the new Stimulus Act as it relates to the 70% and the per quarter aspect. Some are indicating that it is not retroactive for that part. Some are indicating that the 70% and the per quarter of qualified wages is effective 1/1/21. When I go through and I have compared the stimulus bill, which in essence, quite a bit of it in the Employee Retention Credit aspects, Section 206, Section 207 of the Stimulus Act, when I take into account what it indicates, because in the bill it says go to the CARES Act and change this, go to the CARES Act and change this. My interpretation of the stimulus bill is that it strikes the CARES Act by indicating that it is not a 50%, it's a 70%. It strikes the CARES Act by indicating that it's per quarter, not per annual. But I'm reading some articles that the interpretation is that that 70% and that per quarter is not effective until 1/1/21. I've also read a couple of articles that agree with my analysis that it's just here's the new credit and here's the new amount. So what I'd like for you to do is hold I had said in my prior video, we need to wait until this is law, get further interpretation. We have time. The IRS, rest assured, will come out, I guarantee, within a week of the final answer and the procedures in getting the credit. So with that being said, if you are going to take advantage of the employee retention credit retroactively, as I indicated, you can gather up the information. You would gather up the same information, which is what are the qualified wages, which would be only during the time that wages were paid to employees while the government had shut you down and or partially shut you down, or if you're an essential business during a government shutdown. So you can figure out what those wages are. You'll need to figure out what those dates are. And then for any other period of time throughout 2020, what were those dates? What were those wages paid? That's your biggest thing to figure out. The reason I would rather at this point wait in the sense of being conservative is I'd like for the IRS to basically lay it out there. When is the 70% effective and when is the per quarter effective? It seems to me that it's retroactive, not only from the standpoint that the employee retention credit does no longer get interfered with by someone taking PPP. It appears that the retroactive percentage is 70% and that it's retroactive, that it's quarter by quarter. Now, I have seen the analysis. There's an author that put together a really good analysis. Makes sense to me where they have broken down what effective date things are. I just don't agree with that analysis. So instead of being arrogant and indicating, well, go do this, what I'm indicating is let's wait. You know that that's some of my MO, that if we're needing more guidance, then let's wait for the guidance. You do have till the 30th of January to file Form 7200. You have till January 31st to file Form 941, both of which is where you would most easily take this retroactive tax credit related to the employee retention credit. And so being December 28th, let's see where we are in about a week or so and make sure that it's done properly. So there's a number of other provisions in this Stimulus Act where many are saying, well, here's the interpretation, but we need to wait. Or here's some uncertainty, we need to wait. Or it reads this way, but we need more guidance. So I think with the employee retention credit, let's wait for the IRS to come out. They'll be very clear. They'll update the instructions. They'll update Form 7200 if needed. They'll update Form 941 if needed. But they will address very clearly the retroactive. Now, my hope is that it's retroactive 70% and it's per quarter, as in qualified wages start over quarter after quarter. It may be that that's effective 1/1/21, so there's not a question of is it 70% and is it quarter to quarter. It seems the question is, well, is that effective 1/1/21 or is that retroactive back to March 13th? So again, being a certified public accountant, want to make sure that we get it right. I am indicating that I don't agree with the analysis. I've read a couple other analysis, and their analysis is that it's effective all the way back to March 13th. So these are, I've read 5 articles, and 2 of them said it was retroactive everything to March 13th. 2 articles indicated that it was retroactive, that you didn't have to not take employee retention credit, but the 70% and the per quarter was 1/1/21. So 2 of them said it's retroactive all the way on everything. 2 of them said it's only retroactive on the 70% and the 10,000 per quarter. When I say retroactive, that's effective January 31st. Look at this. I'm getting tongue-tied. Here's what I'm trying to tell you. I got 2 different articles that are saying 2 different things. One I agree with. One, it's like, well, I don't think it says that way. And then The one that I've read and I most rely on is from the Journal of Accountancy from the AICPA, and it's silent to the effective date. And quite frankly, when I read the Journal of Accountancy article and it was silent to it, it seemed to be clear to me that it was all effective back to March 13th, 2020. So at the end of the day, you got people that are writing articles, you got people that are writing articles, you got someone that wrote an article, you have me, I'm a CPA, I've got my opinion. Let's wait for the final say, which is from the IRS's interpretation of what's in the stimulus to, in terms, know the effective dates related to this tax credit. At the end of the day, we know that it is retroactive back to March 13th. You will be able to get an employee retention credit for 2020 if you have qualified wages, which every business should if they were around during the businesses being closed during the pandemic or any period throughout 2020. The question will be, is it 50% of wages or 70% of wages in 2020? And the second question will be, is it 10,000 up to 10,000 of qualified wages quarter by quarter, or up to 10,000 of qualified wages per year? We do know for sure that that is now the case. There seems to be a question of the effective date related to it. So hopefully you take that in good stride, that we need to make sure that we get it right. All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. And then don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. All right. Hey, stay tuned on the employee retention credit. I'll let you know when I feel the IRS has made it clear for us. All right. Have a great one.